Part
I did.
two.
Hugh, I dare say that in part one would have been better at the point where mid-conversation with Lewis, I just yell out, "That's the end of part one!"
Anyway,
Oh, for God's sake.
If this was split into 2 points, welcome back to the Fake Cast, everyone. This is part 2.
No, hang on. We need to do the ultimate way of just. We need to say it out like every send out of it. It's just Full Metal Alchemist. Put the title card there, Alastair. We'll put Hugh and
Full Metal Alchemist.
in that one. Now wait for it. Full Metal Alchemist, and then you can have me and you in that other frame. All right, cool, we're good.
I mean, yeah, sweet. Alastair, go.
Okay, let's continue on to the next segment, which I've called "Let's Talk Spin-offs," where we will go through the spin-off Fate series, but the ones that I would say more closely still resemble the world of Fate, i.e., it still kind of has the same.
Arguable. I mean,
it's still.
Holy Grail Wars.
Yeah, it's still a Holy Grail war rather than
as much as
weird stuff.
As much as I enjoy Encore, that is not Fate. What the fuck is that thing like?
Yeah, it's still a Holy Grail war is the point. So first we've got the movie, which is Fate Grand Order First Order, which is based off a mobile game, which in my opinion, is literally an hour and a half long advert for the mobile game. It's literally what I feel like it is, because it is boring, pointless, and it doesn't give you an ending. It's just like, I want to play the game now.
It is 1 hour of we shouldn't have done this. Like, it's called First Order, and I'm on my First Order of business. Don't do it. Like, they've recently announced they're doing another film and a TV series, and they're adapting like the 6th and 7th areas of the game. Like, I'm convinced when it comes down to Grand Order that they've given up any kind of continuity or people understanding it, and are just throwing money at people to make adaptions. And Grand Order, like you say, Al, just stunk of play the game.
Yeah.
And it's
a mobile game as well, which I'm just
which is not available in the UK through conventional means, which I'd like to point out.
The rights to Mozart, and instead of being a hero of a human or a girl turned Mozart, we've made him into a parrot. Whoa! Buy our DLC.
Grand Order. If you if anyone's listening. Grand Order is a video game based in a world where, I think if I remember this correctly, something on the lines of the world's going to end and the only way of stopping it is by a bunch of servants going through time and doing different bits and bobs. I don't think anyone really cares about the plot though. And every single hero and or villain in history is basically represented in some form or another in the game.
Yeah,
if I'm correct.
I just feel like the movie is an introduction essentially to what the game is, and it's just like, I get to the end of the movie and it's like, okay, I'm kind of interested to see where this goes, because this doesn't really, the movie itself is just like, okay, we've set up this massive plot line that now exists. Oh, you have to go and play a mobile game that, even if it did exist and you could, it did exist in the UK and you could buy it, it probably is one of those things of, oh yeah, you can get it for free, but to actually play the content, you have to spend loads and loads of pounds just to, buy characters and...
Yeah, but I'm fine with that if they actually released it in the UK. To me, the entire thing is just an hour-long snooze fest, where it kind of just it's weird. It's that show. It's the same problem that every single Fate spin-off show has. That it's both an introduction that tries to get people in without them playing the games or reading the books or whatever, but then at the same time kind of expects that you already have. That's the big issue I have with Last Encore, Fate Extra.
Yeah.
That it kind of has that weird duality where it's like it holds back like Saber's true name for ages, like as if you don't already know. But then at the same time, it's a sequel to the game that expects that you've already played the game. It's really weird, and that's the problem that I have with Grand Order. It kind of expects that you know everything. So for the people that don't know it, instead of introducing it casually, it just info dumps.
Yeah, it literally feels like an info dump. This is all the thing that the game's about. Go play it. It's literally what it felt to me, and it's just like, well, this is pointless.
Also, to be fair, info dump, just Fate Apocrypha. I know wrong Grand Order, but just Fate Apocrypha is just words. I'm actually fairly sure that I could have, in the time it took them to finish their dialogue, have written better dialogue for the entire series. It's in Kojima levels of needing a dire editor. Like, just
have no dialogue and just have that one fight scene as an OVA, and holy fuck, look,
we're done, and we're actually done. Yeah, just like, good job, guys. Let's pay the rest of the money and run.
I have many a problem with Apocrypha, but like just going back to Grand Order, that thing had, like, if you were going to do a TV movie to introduce people to Grand Order, you could have done so much better than what they did. Like, they just kind of went, hey, here's some characters that you might already in different settings to try and intrigue people, and it just didn't work.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much sums up our opinions of Grand Order to a point. We can move on to Apocrypha at this point, unless anybody else wants. Cool.
I have one thing to say about Grand Order.
Okay, go on.
Fate Grand Order has a genuine AMV to the sound of the song Nightmare that is a million times better than the anime itself. If you go and watch that, then hey, buy the mobile game and play it if you want to know the fucking story.
That was weirdly ASMR of you, then.
I've altered my settings.
Or if you live in a country where the video game's not out, you can just wait for them to release the next 2 Grand Order anime projects, which are about things that'll make you even more confused.
Or you could download the app that lets you download Grand Order.
I know, and I really want to.
Well, let's move on to Apocrypha, because I think this is quite interesting, because as we've seen at the start, I have a different opinion to Apocrypha than you guys do. Now,
where was Apocrypha on your list?
It was top 4.
Because I'm trying to think, Lewis, where was it for you?
Bottom 2.
Benny?
9th.
Yeah, and mine was 9th as well. So I'm interested.
I'm partly.
Why.
Now, I think I have one reason that I've worked out, because you guys have been talking about dialogue. And
I never spoke
well,
about
well,
dialogue.
Lewis has been talking about dialogue.
I've got more problems with Apocrypha than just the dialogue.
Well, Lewis was talking about dialogue. Did you guys all watch it subbed?
I mean,
I watched it subbed and dubbed, because it was subbed in the living room, and I normally watch things dubbed anyway.
Okay.
I watched it subbed.
I always watch everything first subbed because I'm a fucking filthy weeb. And I watched it dubbed because I was just like scrolling through Reddit and someone went, "Oh fucking lol, watch Apocrypha dub."
Well, I was just wondering. I watched it dubbed. I was just wondering if that might have been a reason I liked it more than.
I watched it subbed just because I watch things subbed. Unless someone recommends I watch a dub, do I need to watch it dubbed then?
No,
I don't. I mean, I don't know because I haven't seen the subs. So I don't know what the difference is.
No, basically.
They're both mediocrely average.
Fair enough. Anyway, I'll continue.
I mean, I'm interested to see what you guys think of the problems, because, I mean, yes, it has flaws, hence why it's not... Like, the problem is I have a massive gap. If you look on my anime list of, like, the ratings I've given these shows, the gap between like what I've given to Apocrypha and then what I've given to Unlimited Blade Works and Zero is huge. Like the score is massive, like the difference. But out of the rest, I think Apocrypha is probably the best in the sense of I like the characters. There's like a lot of characters in there that I like. I like Astolfo. I'm not gonna lie. I like Astolfo. I like Ruler. There's...
Ruler is the shining point show to the point where I've got a figure of her.
Oh, like,
Look at Ben and I just like deflating in the background.
fucking stop! Like,
I mean,
Ruler is literally there to sell tickets to this shit show. Like,
yeah, and
Ruler is
and
literally the woman
And it
starting at
works.
the porno theater, going, you can buy these tickets real cheap, as she bends over, shows her cleavage, and goes, you may even see me in there.
And she never turned up. Instead, all we got was crippled
She never
Dr.
turned up.
Octopus.
Instead, all you got was the cock block of her stood outside handing you tickets and being, and then you leave and you think, man, that was a bit shit. But the girl that sold me those tickets, man, she was really something.
and you've got a picture of her in your bedroom, and I do.
Also,
Look,
I like the portrayal of Jack the Ripper as well. I like that.
Oh god, no! I hate the.
I like that.
No. Okay. I'm gonna throw down here because like episode 22
Lollies, go away.
Apocrypha episode 22 is worthy of it being on its own because it's that good in terms of animation, and the reason why it's worthy of being on its own is because it gives up on everything which is wrong with Apocrypha, which is dialogue, characters, and completely wasted potential.
You mean the reason that episode 22 was so much is because everyone came together and spent all their budget on one episode.
Yeah, basically, yeah, they actually did something. They actually did something good. The
and
issue
they
I
did
have,
it together.
the issue I have with characters is that most of those characters can either just kind of be flapped into one big mass. The U-Dog Millennia people are just one character. Like they're one character. Unfortunately, you've got Glasses, Dr. Octopus, and Racist Uncle, and
I was going for Johnny Hitler for that guy.
Dude, literally everyone in Apocrypha is just, how can we throw something that might appeal to someone?
Oh yeah. I mean,
I will give you the two reasons why Apocrypha sucks: lack of focus and abhorrently long dialogue for exposition. That's all you need to ruin it.
I'd also argue that there are just a lot of characters in there that just don't really go anywhere. They try and force them in and think we're going to give you a reason for being there. Jack the Ripper, it could have been a really, really interesting idea to use this kind of rogue element character within the Holy Grail War. But they tried to do what Zero did, where they had there's this character that's going to interrupt the Holy Grail War and we need to do something about it, but do it while they're not really interrupting the Holy Grail War. The reason why Zero works, the reason why Zero works so well is because there's a bit in it, like when Caster does his whole thing, they all come together and it looks like, oh god, yeah, that's going to destroy everything. Oh, that's really bad.
And the church and everything calls out to say, no, this guy needs to go. Even gives the incentive to people. And...
Yeah, exactly. And problem is, Apocrypha knew that bit was good and tried to do it twice. They tried to do it with Caster of Red. It was a Caster of Black. Which one's the one?
Who the fuck cares?
Anyway, one of the casters.
It would be Caster of Black, because Caster of Red is Shakespeare.
Caster of Black, where they go, he's making a giant golem and he's going to destroy everything. We need to stop him. And then they do the exact same thing with Jack the Ripper, where he / whatever is an unknown force and we need to stop them. But neither of them have really done anything to prove that they're a problem. They just kind of. This is Apocrypha's big issue. It just kind of tells you stuff and expects you to believe it.
Can we also talk about the fact that one team basically fucks the judge?
I mean, yeah.
Like one team literally goes out and like it's the equivalent of, Oh, you're the next ice skater, are you? Hey, I'm gonna be fair to both teams. Cool, I can finger bang you in the back room for 250. All right.
Hi,
Yep.
I'm Joan of Arc, and I'm going to be your room. Can we interest you in this very attractive homunculi boy?
See,
Yes,
one thing which
yes,
I'm also
you can very much, because I, the virgin god savior that was burned at the stake, I'm totally the iconic model to go out and just suck that homunculi boy cock. That just totally adds to my character.
Man, see, that's a trope I used to have in fiction generally. Why are homunculi always these fucking soy boys? Do what I do with my homunculi and make them into massive fucking god people. But, okay, right, I also want to say this with fucking Apocrypha. I actually, jumping on the whole homunculi boy, not even taking the piss, I think I've worked out just now, guys, fucking send an email to fucking Mr. Apocrypha. Sorry, Apocrypha-san, I don't want to be racially insensitive. I think I've worked out why his anime is shit. I think it's just because of a critical misunderstanding with how tension is built in anime, because it's just occurred to me that you've got the abhorrently long dialogue in an effort to increase tension by introducing more things, lots of characters which must increase tension, right? And the last thing, which I finally fucking remembered, is the fact that they have got the worst red shirts in the history of anime in the form of infinite homunculi, infinite CGI skeletons, which they will arbitrarily cut through in their thousands in an effort to increase the tension, because so many things fall for that trap. It doesn't increase the tension, it decreases it.
I would like to point out that Apocrypha-san's name is Yurichide.
Yurichide Apocrypha, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So he is the dude that wrote it. He also wrote the show, so there we go. Because it is a light novel series. If the fact that it had like 5 perfect light novel ending moments in it didn't twig that already.
Isn't every anime a light novel series now?
Not
That's
everything.
a podcast in and of itself.
That is
Wait,
another
yeah,
podcast.
Ben, that's for the inevitable isekai podcast that I will do because I know a lot about that stuff.
Dude, how to summon a demon lord? How not to summon a demon lord? I'm in. Oh no. Back to
fate. Back to fate. I mean, there is another reason to be honest, I agree with all the points that you're saying in Apocrypha in a sense. I still think it's better than the other stuff that is available on the market for Fate.
I agree with you as we slowly make our way through it.
I mean, at the same time, can we talk about the fact that the Masters, we only ever meet 2 of them, because before the series even starts, they're just gone, because they decided not to even bother characterizing them. Like, literally, we turn up and it's like, here's the necromancer with Mordred, who, Christ, Mordred deserved a better show.
Yeah, Mordred's great.
Mordred deserved a better
None of
show.
us will disagree with you on that.
Mordred is probably the best character in the show. Yeah.
Yes, she fucking is.
Yeah, she is, because she's Saber Light, and it's
Saber Light.
She is Saber Light. She's Saber Light.
She is Saber Light. She's Saber Light.
She's
Saber Light. Have you ever seen a light version wanted to actually kill the Omega OG?
Well, in Fate, I'd expect that to be the fucking norm.
But yeah, at the same, we got that, and then we've got Kotomo and Shiro. My word,
oh god, the albino who's black because he spent time in archaeological digs. That
is the most on the nose name in the entire Fate series. Where it said, we need a name. We need a name for this guy. Kotomane Shiro.
Yeah.
Let's go home, lads. Call it 50 overs.
Yeah,
we've done it, boys.
Knock off for an early lunch.
Oh.
And he's just like, and it's the fact that he has the same, like, reason for doing what he's doing as so many other Fate protagonists and antagonists, where it's just, I want to save humanity with the 3rd magic, and I'm like, oh, I'm sick of the 3rd magic already.
The 3rd magic, fuck off.
I'm gonna do it. Oh, I'm gonna save the world. Oh, I'm gonna be better than my good boy. I'm gonna be a bigger good boy.
I'm a 16-year-old boy, and yet I'm jacked.
See, I think this will make for an interesting. Sorry, I'll say I think this will make for an interesting discussion when we get to the Prisma Illya movie, which is literally the exact opposite.
You're very
I've just
crackly,
realised the
Lewis, by the
perfect
way.
thing.
Oh, sorry, did you hear me?
Yeah, you're just crackly.
Yeah, I was saying literally the opposite of that point is I'm going to use the Holy Grail power to fuck the world to save one person.
Yeah, but that is Prisma Illya, and that is a
Different.
it's for part 3.
Literally,
That would be
I
part
just
4.
realised when you say that I'm jacked, fuck it, like comment. Fate Apocrypha is literally, well, we want to have the real emotional arc of, you know, Shura and Bryn together, and he comes to term with, you know, fuck it, I can save the world, but I'm better and I won't become this monstrosity because I got someone by my side. So I'll fucking absorb them. I'll become some weird conjoined monstrosity, then continue to try and finger bang the Holy Virgin, the literal Holy Virgin, as was called out in Fate Zero, as the Holy Virgin who at some point decides to become moist at the thought of a guy who's willing to charge headstrong into an army of generics. And
There's
Yeah,
so much
red shirts,
wrong.
just red
just
shirts.
red shirts. He just charged headstrong into an army of red shirts. And
There
then
is so
decide,
much wrong.
well, you know what we need? You know what will make it better than Unlimited Blade Works? What Keith? What will make it better? If we take out the part where the romance option actually makes him a better person, and we make him stand by the bullshit ordeal, the bullshit, like, oh yeah, I'll be a hero, I'll be a great person, and we just make him OP.
I mean, let's be honest. Zeeg is probably that show's weakest character, and he is the protagonist, and that is
ELDR.
it
That's
is
not saying.
it's so problematic. Where I will argue that perhaps one of the stronger characters in that show is Siegfried the hero, where he actually has the only kind of emotionally good bit in the entire show, where he goes, actually, I kind of don't care about the Holy Grail War. I am a hero. I do hero things. This guy's shown that he's actually a good guy.
Whoa,
I am going to sacrifice myself for him in a very subtle, not bombastic way. He just, here's my heart, go. I'll see you dudes, I'll leave you later. And I wanted
He's
more
like, Uncle Barry's given us the heart to resurrect ourselves.
basically, yeah. And I wanted more of that, but instead we got this homunculi dude with the ability to turn into him. Basically, we got anime Shazam.
Is it this point?
Shazam.
It's
Shazam's cool.
Is it?
It is anime Shazam. He literally just goes Sieg and then turns into a dragon slayer.
So true, and it's so fucking upsetting that that's actually true.
Yeah.
Is it?
Shazam, the ultimate boyhood fucking like
I
dream.
still love the
Fate
most
Apocrypha.
where Shazam just gets his neck snapped, and that just makes me so happy.
Back to the Fate cast.
Is it this point where it's worth mentioning that Apocrypha is made by A1 Pictures?
Oh yeah,
It's
because
at this
A1.
point where it's worth mentioning that Astolfo's a piece of fuck!
Oi! Stop dissing Astolfo. Astolfo's great.
Oh yeah, I should
Anyone-
probably. Yeah. Oh my god. Right.
Lewis, what do you have wrong? You need to
What-
say this.
Right. I'll make a serious point, then I'll make my real point. My serious point is having a character and just calling them a gender does not make them that gender. That's lazy transsexualism. That's calling Dumbledore gay after the fact. You pussy ass bitch.
J.K.
is as
Rowling
lazy
has
as that.
J.K. Rowling actually has a Twitter presence, and I'd quite like to not be trash mobbed.
I will try. I'll get trash mob. Trash mob me on my non-existent Twitter. At Hugh Hurston, 1995. No, and
Not even close.
No, I know. Yeah, call yourself Hugh Hurston, right? So my issue is the fact that everyone in that series automatically knows their gender. Then my other point, which I'm ultimately more annoyed about, is the fact that it worked, and now the whole trap hentai scene is just flooded. The economy was ruined overnight by the introduction of this character. Like, everyone believed it. Everyone caught on to the hype, and now there's a bubble.
Can we also do to the fact that Astolfo wins? Like Astolfo wins.
Yeah,
and
she
that's
wins.
The most... He wins, and
Yeah,
it's-
see.
exactly. Like he wins, and he's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go around on my griffin and do my thing. No, sorry, my hippogriff or whatever it's called. Hippogriff. Or whatever. Like,
It's like calling fucking Berserk's Godhand cool. Hippogriff.
Yeah,
let's
basically.
Let's just be honest. Astolfo is just every Harry Potter fangirl on Tumblr's wet dream, who just
Yep.
wanted the boy girl riding a hippogriff through the stars to fucking try and seduce some other guy because that's
It's unreasonably
kind of gay.
wholesome.
Falls in love with Anime Shazam because
Exactly. Every Tumblr fangirl just sat there and they're like, "When Shazam?" They're like, fucking, I don't care. I don't care
Shazam
about all
it
these
in me.
Marvel movies. I don't care about Netflix deal with Marvel. When the fuck Shazam, DC? You're bringing out Titans. You're saying fuck Batman, fuck you, DC.
Oh,
Where's
God.
Shazam?
we're going off topic.
Yeah.
I would also just tell you what, should we cap off the Apocrypha thing with the greatest thing that Apocrypha's given us is Haunted Astolfo plushie, which is possibly one of my favorite things ever produced by
Astolfo-
anime.
Fucking Haunted Astolfo plushie is genuinely a Fate Zero Haunted Gilgamesh plushie stolen meme. It's not even an original meme.
And isn't that just a summary? Isn't that,
Gilgamesh plushie.
doesn't that just summarize the whole thing?
I would like.
That sums up Fate Apocrypha perfectly.
I would
But
also
its
like
biggest
to.
meme and biggest thing it will be remembered by is a stolen meme from Fate Zero.
I would also like to point out that I kind of liked Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
no,
like
she-
Frankenstein as well.
You want your cute walking corpse? Here you go.
Actually, no, that's
Also, like,
Zombina, but that's a completely different thing.
I absolutely adore her because I'm going to use all my power in this one hit. Well, you fucked it, didn't you?
You didn't even kill her. She's still alive. Look at her. I like the idea of her being up in heaven and God is just sitting next to her and going, you see that down there? That's what you did. She's still alive, and look, she's immediately gone into another fight where she's winning. That's what you are. You're useless. Why are you wearing a wedding dress?
God, Jesus, and Hitler are three of the only mainstream historical characters to not be involved in Fate Grand Order.
Did you know that? Have you ever been on the?
Did
Fate
you know?
There it is. There it is.
Have
Okay.
you been on the Reddit?
We've now got a wallpaper for the podcast.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Reddit, the Fate Reddit, where people have actually been like trying to design a Hitler spirit, and it's so strange that people think should be a thing.
Oh god.
Imagine is whenever I see any of these fan arts, which I've not seen yet somehow, mainly because the only thing I click on the Fate Reddit at this point is the Daily Tosaka. But
Yeah, it means, man.
Sips coffee.
like
Can
when I see these,
we
I hope-
hijack Daily Tosaka and just make it her dad?
Yeah, I'll say this is where we rush the subreddit.
I
Oh,
genuinely
God.
hope with every part of my being that someone out there has been a part of the Fate fandom and has seen these weird Hitler fan art drawings and decided to make one of the smash enter the brawl memes with it, so that I can genuinely look and just see someone as it goes, ha 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 ha, and it's just like Hitler euthanizes his way into the brawl.
That's what I was gonna say. Surely it's a caster, just conjures Zyklon B. Like,
Oh no! The only official Hitler thing that I thought was halfway towards an actual official thing is Hitler is a caster, and I sat there and I'm like, what? And then I read the details and was like, nope, makes total sense.
Oh, you see, I would always think Ryder.
Well, no, because I get they made all the mechanical innovations, but that's where you get Erwin Rommel in as a rider, which I quite like. I quite like the idea of just having Bismarck in.
Can we not like go down the route of which Nazi should be in Fate, because that's gonna like go down some rabbit hole and someone's gonna say something they're gonna regret.
Yeah, let's steer this shit back to.
That is fair. Yusuf Mengele. Do continue, Alastair.
Right, so I think that covers
my word,
Fate.
we're onto it.
That covers
Do it, boy.
Fate Apocrypha. Now we're on to Fate Extra Last Encore.
Woo!
We're
This is
only
the
going to
one-
talk about the 10 episodes that are currently up on Netflix. So we're not talking about
My
the last
girl.
3.
My girl.
Now, the things that I'm going to start with is I haven't played the game. So this show just left me utterly confused to the point of I was fine up until the point of when they got to the 3rd level.
Oh yeah.
Because then I was just like, what is this time fucking nonsense that's going on? I'm confused which scene belongs to when, what, where, how, who, why,
This is the major problem with Fate spin-offs. It assumes that you've played the game or read the visual novel or read the light novel or whatever, but at the same time makes it for new viewers. So
That's why you should start with the light novel.
yeah, which is
Fuck
why it's one of these things where like Last Encore is a sequel. It is a sequel to Fate Extra.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that it's also designed not to reveal it's a sequel until about 8 or 9 episodes in. So the people that started watching it, the poor people that subscribed to Netflix saw Last Encore turn up in their thing when I've seen I saw
Apocrypha and that was great.
I saw
Well,
Apocrypha.
actually, Unlimited Blade Works is on Netflix, so
and then they jumped into Last Encore and just became so confused. The idea that the main character isn't human, they're not really homunculi either. They're kind of like a weird residue of everything. The fact that Saber is kind of dead but has also been summoned. The idea that it's all strange, and it's designed for 2 different audiences that are polar opposites, and I absolutely adore it.
yeah. Well, the thing is, I think it'd be.
I just want to say I don't think I can add anything more to that, Hugh, other than what's not to understand. It's the moon trying to kill everyone. A tale as old as time.
It's not the moon trying to. It's not the moon trying to kill everyone.
I know.
Moon's the name of the super.
But no,
it's
Hugh,
not-
genuinely, I agree with everything you just said. Actually,
Yeah.
I cannot really add to that.
Yeah, This is the major problem. It's my number 6. If I batted Apocrypha episode 22 out of my list, it's my number 5. And half of it's down to the fact that me and Shaft have this love relationship. We'll watch literally everything that Shaft has ever made in its entire life and hold it to the heavens and go, this is God's given gift to us. Like, even the weird stuff they've done. But Last Encore just kind of works.
You mean
for
the
me.
stuff they've done?
Yeah, but Last Encore kind of works for me because it's this weird, strange thing that shouldn't really exist in the form that it isn't, but it provides itself so stylistically and it sticks to its guns. It doesn't do what Apocrypha does, where it kind of gives up on stuff halfway through because it thinks you might not be liking it. It sits down at the beginning and goes, we're doing this and you're coming along for the ride and we're not changing. And I kind of love that about it, where it can just kind of throw itself into it. And I feel sorry for the fact that it had massive budget problems, and that's why we've got the final 3 episodes in a completely separate point. I feel sorry for
I was wondering about that because I was like, okay, a normal anime series is 12 to 13 episodes. That's normally what they do.
a single core.
A single core is 12 to 13 episodes, unless you're Konosuba for some reason. And then
Man.
and then you do.
I remember back in my day when 24 episodes was the standard.
And they just then I just went, okay, maybe they've just decided to do 10 because that's all they needed. And then I was like, wait, we're already halfway through, and they've only just finished level 2.
Oh yeah, budget fell. Budget problems down the absolute everything became the massive issue there. You look at a load of the money for that show, and it shows. Oh god, I can't even remember the name of the final boss. Anyway, whatever. It shows a load of him, and he's not in the 10 episodes that are currently on Netflix. The entire thing, like, it's got everything working against it,
Yeah.
and it's almost that underdog, and why I like it so much, because it has that stuff going against it. I really like our main characters. I think Saber doesn't really have a character arc, but is just so strongly characterized that I kind of
character arc because that character arc was in Fate Extra.
exactly, and that's the problem. And
Yeah.
this is the thing. But she is kind of just this great character, because at the same time, it's also this character that kind of in the back of her head knows something's not up here. But I'll kind of go along with it because I'm the great Emperor Nero, and I just kind of want to get through this now. Let's go. Where are my lions? Like, seriously, like, that girl is just great. And Lewis has muted himself.
He just doesn't want
Yes,
to.
I have, because someone's come into the room. 1 second.
Yeah, no, it's
Oh, someone's come into the room. It's time to yell profanity, boys.
there's so much stuff that I like about Fate Extra Last Encore. The only reason it's so low on my list at the moment is because once it hits level 3, I'm confused as fuck. And
I was confused as heck, and I've played the game.
yeah, and I think, I mean, once it got past that, it got better again. And I think what I'm going to do is I have downloaded Fate Extra because I own a PlayStation TV now for Persona. So I've downloaded Fate Extra, and I will play the game. And then after I've played the game, I will rewatch the show, and then I'll probably improve my opinion on it.
Question though, have you downloaded Fate Extra, or have you downloaded Fate Extra the Umbral Star?
The original Fate Extra.
Good, because you can get really confused, because the Umbral Star
It's a PSP release. The
is
original.
yes, the Umbral Star is on PC and PS4, and I know a lot of people who played that thinking it was the first one and got incredibly confused.
No,
No.
I've downloaded the PSP version, hence why it's on my
If anything-
PlayStation TV.
You'll be
If
fine then.
anything, emulate the PSP CCC version on PC, so you can get Gilgamesh.
But yeah, Gilgamesh is an Umbral Star, and he's the best character to play as.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna play it.
Filthy mongrel.
There's a lot of things that I do like about Fate Extra. I love the art style. The art style probably also explains why the budget went ridiculously haywire, because that is a complicated art style to animate. Like,
It's the fact that they
It
made
looks
that art
fucking
style-
weird.
It
It's
looks
In a
Shaft!
good way.
It's
Like,
shaft, and that's the point.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's the fact they changed the character designs to make them look more kind of animatable and more cutesy. And my favorite story behind it is the fact that the voice actor for Saber changed the way she voiced Saber for the show, because she said the Saber in the show looked more cutesy, so needed a bit more of a cutesy voice. And I love that subtle detail.
what was that, Ben?
Why autistic screeching just in the background?
Like, I've played the thing, I've played it through with Nero, and just the response of, oh man, she looked a bit cutesy, she really needed that cutesy thing. As I'm sat there thinking back to, like, her second talk, where she's like, man, people think I'm cute and assume I should be cute, but I really don't want to be in any way, shape, or form, and that's why I'm extra aggressive on top of normal. And I'm sat there, just like, man, she looked more cutesy, so I thought I should portray her more cutesy. And I'm just sat in the corner like,
I mean, I like the little thing, even if I completely get you on that thing. like I get you, but I like the touch. Like I like it when voice actors and actresses can
oh,
put a stamp.
don't get me, I love that,
on-
I love that. But I think that the people running the show should. Don't get me wrong, I adore Shaft. I love Shaft. I will watch everything they do. I will shaft myself to everything they do. But
I love Shaft too.
I genuinely think that the people running it should know their content well enough. To
I mean,
turn
I think
around
you should
and
probably
go,
play the game.
She probably shouldn't be.
Yeah, but didn't the voice actor read the line that you just mentioned anyway? So shouldn't she know?
Because that's in the game.
Oh, didn't she voice act the
It's
game?
in the game that they assume you've played.
Oh, right.
Yep. There's herein lies the issue.
Yeah, no, I think it's this weird thing of like I don't like stuff that assumes that you've
I don't
done
like
something
stuff
else.
either.
No,
Alastair, I can entirely sympathise.
I don't like it when a certain medium expects you to have seen something in another form of medium to understand the thing that you're currently doing. I don't mind if it's like, yeah, you can only watch this movie if you've seen this movie, or you can only watch this TV show if you've seen this TV show, because that's fine, because that's like sequels and whatever. But if something is like, you can only enjoy this thing if you've played this game, you can only enjoy this thing if you've read this book, and it's just like, no, I want to enjoy the thing in the medium that I'm currently, trying to watch.
Which is a completely understandable thing.
Ben.
And again, the biggest problem with the Fate spin-offs, once like I've said.
Yeah,
Well, you should just play the visual novel.
Yes, Ben.
Ben, go back to your drinks.
I genuinely, after I said that, started like trying to not break down laughing to myself.
I have a vague feeling that's going to be the title of the podcast is Ben's opinion. Play the visual novel.
I'm glad, Ben, that you find yourself the funniest person on this podcast.
I don't think I'm the funniest person on the podcast.
Well, that makes one of us, doesn't it?
I see myself as being this podcast's equivalent of the bloke that kind of just walked into the coffee shop and barged into the conversation,
you
and
are
you
the
don't.
ASMR guy that's about to get a contract with some fucking anime group.
Where the
I expect about a week after this goes live.
Hang on a minute.
Comes up
where the
going,
fuck did
hello,
Wait,
this is the
wait,
Hugh
where did
anime review sponsored by Crunchyroll.
where did the ASMR come from?
you're asking where did it come from?
Ben, your fetishes should not be projected onto me, sir.
It's so calm and subtle, and it's like
What?
right there in my ear.
What? Well, the reason why I'm doing that, Ben, is because my parents are currently in the room next to me, and it's 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, let's get to Prisma Illya quickly so they can listen to it.
Is it actually Prisma Illya time?
Not
No,
quite
it's
yet.
not.
We're nearly there.
Can we talk
Okay,
prototype?
So we will now move on to Prototype really quickly. To me, that is just like 12 minutes of just like, okay.
It's not even 12 minutes, though, because it's got 5 minutes of credits.
Yeah, it's just like...
It's a
I kind of
scene.
like... We could have had that as a show. Like, it could have been a show or whatever.
Exactly, and you know what Prototype was?
It was
What is it was the original... What a Fate originally was supposed to be, yeah.
Original content.
Yeah.
I think. Do you want to see where the original thought process towards Fate was going? Watch Fate Prototype as just kind of a nice little kind of bit of a history lesson. See where Saber first turned up. See where the thoughts for Shiro first come in, because the Saber in Prototype is basically a mix between Shiro and Saber. It's all very strange.
Yeah,
Do you want to
that's
see
bang on.
Gilgamesh actually have a bow? That's a weird one to look at.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
I
that's the
mean-
thing.
It's I think. Sorry, Ben, you go ahead actually, because I was going to open the floor to questions quickly. Go ahead.
Alright. Well, like the best part is from Fate Prototype. Like, watch it, and you can see that during the end, this is the sort of thing that they aired to people during the initial setup to Fate, like Fate as a whole thing. And somewhere along the way, people looked at it and just went, "It's pretty good. We could make this into a thing, but what if?
They
What
were
if you could
cute
fuck
girls.
the main character?"
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, I don't know, yaoi things don't sell as well." And then like, all right. Stay with me for a minute. Make it a girl. And that's like, well, there's plenty of stuff where the main character gets fucked and they're a fighting girl. And it's like, right. What if she's a historical figure and she's a guy, but she's a girl? And they're like, gold. fucking gold right
Yeah.
there.
And-
And then they turn
can-
around and it's like, right, while I'm on this roll, oh shit, the guy with the bow and arrow, what if he's an archer, but instead of bow and arrow, he uses swords?
While I'm also on this roll, let's do what every other anime is doing and add a twin-tailed tsundere, and everybody just went, there we go.
Maybe. Yeah, that's what we need.
Can we do a twin-tailed tsundere, but can we make it so they're the best twin-tailed tsundere literally in all of anime history, and has not really appeared like in any massive capacity for so many years, and yet is so still loved by the community that they managed to win a best girl competition in a year.
I can't believe she won that best girl competition. That still blows my mind.
What best girl
What
competition?
was unbelievable.
This is the Our Anime Best Girl competition, which has been going for a couple of years now. That has been won by such people as
Well, didn't
Tosakurin won it last year.
Rem win it this year?
Rem won it this year. Riza Hawkeye has won it in the past.
Oh, that really is best girl. That's wholesome.
No, that's a solid one. That's a very.
I love how this year the final was between Rem and Aqua.
Yes, and we're getting off. We're getting
But
off
yeah.
topic. We're getting off
To be
topic.
fair, it was
Look-
an R anime thing, which feels like an R anime thing.
Yeah, basically. It
Yeah.
really is.
Lewis,
Lewis, you were going to throw out questions, weren't you?
I
Yeah.
actually just wanted to throw out a question, which I'm actually right. Just to give you a quick context here, and I swear to God, I'm not even doing a fucking meme here, but I do like my visual novels, as you know, Ben does as well. And my favorite one of all time is Tower Shoujo. And a while ago, they released, or someone found, the beta route. So, as in the roots of the game when it was still being tested by people, but they essentially don't resemble the product today. What's your guys' opinion on those things? Because I decided not to watch it because I thought it really would take away from the whole experience if I saw something. Because I think if what I am seeing was not intended for release, I feel like I shouldn't be watching it. I feel like that you
I
can't.
don't want to go in and see something that I'm like, I wish I saw this as a full thing and think less of it overall. But at the same time, I don't want to go in and be like, oh, well, I'm super glad you changed this. Because then at the same time, whenever I replay that route, I'm going to think of that moment of, well, it could have been this, or have you. It's like, take your Katawa Shoujo example. You've got Hanako's route, which is
because Hanako's beta route is just monstrous in the fucking beta version. She dies in most of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you take Hanako's route, and the negative things are you fucking it over yourself, and you not really understanding the character and going through that sort of development. And I think if I'd watched something and been like, well, she could have died at this point, I'd have turned back and been like, what the fuck's this shock factor bullshit that they were thinking of putting in here?
I think that it's one of those things that you do really for the historical purpose. I like looking and seeing where something came from, but not like actually wanting it as a full thing. There was talk of it being adapted full actual anime. I wouldn't want to see that, but I do find it interesting to see where it was coming from to begin with. Like that's where I come from. So
it's a curious thing for me. It's more because obviously where do you stop? Because I mean, like, if you then say, well, don't make an anime of it, are you even allowed to talk about it in interviews? Well, of course you are. That's a design debrief. But on the other hand, is this not just a really extravagant design debrief? I'm not really looking.
Very few things get in the original idea. If you write a book, make a film, or make a TV show, or make a game, and you release the first thing you've ever made, that thing is going to have problems. You have to perfect something over time, and at the end of the day, you probably just should have read the visual novel.
Yep.
Well,
just for context.
Exactly.
Just for context there, ladies and gentlemen, during that whole conversation, we've just been talking in the chat that while Ben and Lewis were going off on one, me and Alastair were just having a thing about how they're going off again. And while I was having my genuine talk and being an actual contributor to this thing and not just memeing, Lewis just told me that I should read the visual novel.
No, I really did appreciate the points. Like, I think you are right. Everything's gonna be. It's a very, very grey area, and I really do appreciate. Like,
it is a super grey area.
It was just more a question on the sort of like whole state of beta gaming. Anyway, so should we move on?
I think that covers Fate Prototype. I mean, there's not really much to say about it.
We didn't say anything about
We-
it.
we've
Because
spent more time talking about
because
Fate Prototype
it's
than it
7
is Fate
minutes
Prototype.
of just pointlessness.
I'm pretty sure we spent more time talking about Katawa Shoujo than we did Fate Prototype.
Right
It was a
now,
prototype.
All things as they are should be.
now we get to the fun bit. Where we're into the next segment, which I've called Fate but with Magical Girls, where we can talk about
In the
Prisma
police
Illya.
car.
Let's talk about the series first, and then talk about the movie.
No.
afterwards.
Can we please talk about the movie first? Because I actually have good things to say.
Yeah,
about
but the movie is supposed to be watched after the series.
Oh, the loneliest number you will
So-
All right, fine. It's disgusting, derogatory shit.
I
hate it.
don't. I like maybe about half of it when it's being interesting, and the other half of it where it's being derogatory, disgusing stuff. I hold it in contempt.
Can I just
people have-
ask how many of those like derogatory scenes do you actually like say there are in the show? Because I
More
only
than
see
there should.
I see
More
like
than there should.
1 or 2 a season.
Yeah, but the problem is that's
No.
more than there should be, because when you build a character where the specific point of them is in order to get mana they need to make out with their alternate reality person who also happens to be an underage girl, then you start to realize that you haven't built a character that's been well made and thought out. You've built a fetish,
Yeah,
and
look,
It's
Hugh,
all
you are
fucking
bang
insidious.
on.
and
Yeah.
I mean-
Bang on there, Hugh, because you've got Illya, who's a character that people genuinely are interested in, to the point that people petitioned for the original Illya route of the visual novel to be released, even if it was 90% similar to some of the other routes, because people cared about her characterization that much. And they just wanted to see that sort of thing. And then you get round to this, and you think about all the stuff that we go through, and we think about all the stuff we talked about earlier in the podcast of Illya actually gets the characterization in Fate Stay Night and actually gets her happy ending and that sort of thing. And the heartbreak of Illya going through this sort of stuff. Like, would you think the same when you look at Prisma Illya and you turn around and you see this literally half-naked, like, 9-year-old girl forcing herself on a
It's-
10-year-old girl?
it is
And
it
you
is.
sit there looking at the screen, and you're just like,
I
this isn't
couldn't.
even the character from the same show.
I could
I
not
don't-
watch it in that respect. I had to fast forward. It got to me on a level that just made me want to just shut my laptop and just walk away from it. I had to force myself through it because I knew there were good bits in it that
Yeah,
were
that's-
not when it was being just disgusting.
That's the thing, it has good breaks. It has really in-depth and detailed things that could be explored and be really interesting.
The
points.
lore of an alternative reality and the idea of kind of everything that it goes through is genuinely interesting, but it just breaks down, and I can't do it, unfortunately.
The thing is, I think this is quite interesting in the point of this is the one thing that holds you back from liking Prisma Illya is the whole that sort of stuff that's in it. And there's a lot of stuff in Prisma Illya I like. One thing that I do like is the fact that Luvia is in it as a bigger character, so you get to see a lot more of Luvia when you wouldn't normally get to see her at all. There's
Even if she does get absolutely no character.
yeah, but she's still in it.
With the
I'm an
movie
show
section.
cinema.
Like, what is with it?
I don't know. It's just that it's nice to see a different character that you get to see for what,
it
like
is-
10
They
minutes.
just copy and pasted Misha and gave her blonde hair.
I will admit it's good to see someone who isn't just
But
the main.
going back to the point that I was going to make before I sidetracked, I'm wondering, I think I've gotten to the point where I'm literally desensitized to that stuff now. Of like, I've watched way too many shows where a lot of worst shit happens to characters that I'm just like, eh. Like, the only thing that makes it still a bit cringy to watch is the fact that the age of the characters, the fact that they're that young with it.
Shit.
But
I think Lewis, you can potentially back me up on this. Both me and you being in the profession we are in, that being around the people of that age and seeing how they are mentally, I know that this is something which, like, it's someone's fetish, but it is genuinely derogatory and disgusting, and it's something that if it would happen to a person, it would mentally scar them, and it just really gets to me. And I genuinely do like some of the bits of Prisma Illya, and the fact that it just has to keep on coming back to that just upsets me as a person.
I'm with you 100% there, man, because it's like, I've done IT work within like some schools and like primary schools and junior schools and stuff, and my mum works in the office there and things, and she'll come home with like stories about the kids, and to then think about like a show that would sexualize the same kids that my mum comes home proud of telling these innocent, cute stories about just makes me feel disgusted a bit inside.
It's sexualizing your 5 pupils. There's no way around it.
You can't do it. It is.
I mean, I'm fairly cutting to the point about this one because I just don't want to talk about it. Really, it's exploitative. It's horrible to watch. The implication is that somehow the characters are enjoying it. It reminds me, actually, like, the thing is, Alastair, actually, I might even refute you with the whole age thing, because the problem is like, it reminded me so much of the only anime I've ever stopped watching in abject disgust. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a vampire one where a girl gets dropped off at some vampire manor, and then these 5 vampires are like being all very rapey toward her, basically. And we're supposed to be on their side, like, oh, I can't wait to watch this harem show, and it was disgusting. And
I have a very similar thing for you, Lewis, where it was the wolf girl and the black prince, where I had to stop watching after the first episode because it glorified domestic abuse, and I couldn't do that.
It glorifies it. You're expected to enjoy it. The characters are somehow expected to enjoy it, and just the thing is, Prisma Illya could have some amazing moments. I wouldn't fucking know.
I've watched all of it with the exception of those scenes where, when it turned up, I just couldn't, and I had to move it forward. And every time any of those scenes moves in, I have to move forward. I cannot watch any of the OVAs because I know those OVAs are probably going to have those moments in there. So I refuse. And so this is why I like the season of Prisma Illya so much, because the 4th season ignores a lot of that and does just do the plot and has some very
the fourth
interesting
season. The 4th season is the best season of Prisma Illya by a mile.
Yes.
I also think the 3rd season's quite good because the 3rd season doesn't have that much in it. I mean, there's a scene in the 1st episode, and I think there's a scene in.
The 2nd is the worst. The 2nd season.
The 2nd season is definitely the worst. For that sort of stuff. Well, because that's when that character's introduced. They drop
Chloe. They drop Kuro into it, and
yeah. The 1st season's fine because I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any kissing scenes in it. There's just bathtub scenes.
Where was Prisma Illya in everyone's list out of interest?
It is only
dead fucking last.
Yeah, I'm same as you, Lewis.
It's not last for me, but it's very low down. It's only just above Dean, Grand Order, and Apocrypha.
It's 4th last for me.
Because it's 4th last for me because it has good moments. If I was just if it had,
look at that perfect split.
yeah, basically, if it didn't have those moments, it would be higher. And if it had more of those moments, I would throw it down to the point where I wouldn't have watched it.
Yeah, it's literally a thing. If you remove those moments, it's actually a pretty decent show. It's just those moments are a bit like, well, not just a bit, but very bad in the sense of
they
like,
That's
eh.
what gets me, because they clearly had something behind the show to drive it and some interesting ideas and plot points, and yet for 4 seasons they stuck with what they stuck with. They had every opportunity to change it and go to this
I mean, they
proper
have taken
actual
some of
plot
it out,
Well,
but
no,
it's just
they've-
like,
yeah, they've taken it out and gone in the right direction to the point of like leading into movie, I guess, in some ways. The fact of making Shiro the main character of the movie, but
well,
I
alternate universe Shiro, but yeah.
you can't. You can't. There's no getting around it. Like,
no, there really
there's
isn't.
times, like, even in the past year, that I was like, I had friends explain it to me, and I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting premise and stuff, but all the stuff I've seen of it has been sort of like, I don't want to touch that with the 10-foot pole.
This is
And
the
then
big
and then
issue.
I let myself get convinced into watching it, because they said about all this stuff and made all of these points of the story bits that were interesting, and I got through like season 1, and I'm just there like, I don't know, it just I felt like someone that had done something that genuinely felt like I needed to actually confess. Like, I felt like I needed to actually speak to someone personally about what I'd just done.
It's not the worst thing anime has ever done,
But yeah,
But
well,
it
that's
is-
not difficult.
but it is significantly up
No, and
there.
I imagine we'll get a lot of shit for the fact of how much we're going down this road on stuff like
But
this.
you
but-
can't avoid it. Is the unfortunate
Well,
issue
that-
here.
The point
It's
it goes to show how bad that actually is. The fact
Yeah.
that it's literally 2 scenes a season. It's probably more in the second season. I can't remember how many it is because that was like ages ago when I watched it. But it's 2 scenes in the later seasons of like probably 3 minutes out of 12 episodes. And the 3 minutes just are so bad that it just like affects that in a ridiculous way. If those 3 minutes weren't in there, it would be a decent show. To the level of it's got decent plot, the characters are decent, the action's pretty good, like whatever. It's just those 3 minutes that they decide to put in is just like, well, great.
They
It's like-
warp everything else around them.
Yeah. I
don't-
like
I
to
don't-
think that I can put up with a lot of stuff. I can give out the dark humor, I can put up with the dark humor, and I can roll with a lot of punches and things like that. But when you know family members of that age,
Yeah.
and when you know people who work with people of that age, and when you've dealt with people of that age, and when you've got any reasonable sort of thought or actual attachment to a real world person who even they has someone they care about of a similar position or age or what have you, and you look at the show and it's like, I get that you're trying to make it a jokey thing, and I get that you're not intending it in a bad way, and people who enjoy it, I can't honestly say I hold anything against you, because like like people can be jaded by personal experiences, and people can have their own opinions and things that are totally different, and if you enjoy this, it doesn't make you a creep or whatever. You might enjoy it for the actual plot, or you might just enjoy it as a jokey show. But genuinely, I can't look at the thing without seeing family members or people I know or people that I know care about others of the same position. And
No,
not
that's a
feel-
genuine piece of applause there, because
and not actually feel upset by the fact of that.
because I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
there,
no, that's
because
that's
I think
right.
I think you've pretty much said that perfectly about what it is. And can I speak from the heart here and say, can we move on to the movie? Because I'm genuinely starting to feel down about this.
Yeah,
Yep,
we can move on to
same.
the movie.
Cool, movie's better.
Well,
The
yeah.
movie's got actual ideas to it.
Movie is not Prisma Illya movie.
No, it's not. It's actually all right. The first 30 minutes forgets the plot, but the rest of it's actually good.
It's dark and it's got a kind of Fate Zero-esque level to it without being creepy.
It doesn't have lollies in it, which is a thing that actually I can hold it very much high against it. It didn't do that. It actually
Is that just something we now need to do with anime? Just sort of like, I was watching a bit of My Hero Academia earlier. It doesn't have lollies in it, and
but when you're talking about Prisma Illya, like
I know.
you've got to essentially the film itself, like the first 30 minutes are kind of boring. It kind of forgets to do anything. But
Yeah, I
then
do
it
think the
actually-
first 30 minutes are necessary, though, in the grand scheme of things, of the fact of it does give Miyu and that version of Shiro character development, in the sense of explains their relationship and
It's characterization. Yeah.
its characterization for those two characters, which in the context of the movie is not necessary, but in the context of the entire show is.
Yes, I agree, but I think they could have done it in a slightly more interesting way, I suppose. But I think the film is a lot better than the show
Oh yeah, no,
itself.
definitely. The film is
I
the
agree.
best part of the entire thing. Is that movie?
No, definitely, because it actually has these interesting thoughts and ideas, and Shiro, it's almost a sped up Shiro from a lot of the other routes, where he kind of you can see him becoming Archer, both mentally and quite literally as you're watching it, as he's going through it. His skin starts to turn darker, his hair's going white, he's becoming Archer.
Well, it's literally an alternative reality version of Shiro becoming Archer. Is literally what that is. It's
and it works really well, and it's also the only place in Fate where we get any kind of Avenger looking stuff. Which I do like. I'm still surprised that we haven't got. For anyone who's not completely in on the Fate thing, there is an actual sequel to Fate's Day Night called Fate.
Hollow Ataraxia.
That's the one, Hollow Ataraxia.
I think that
a
isn't.
sequel.
I think I heard there's an announcement for that to be animated at some point.
I hope so, because it's the
I
one.
hope so as well. It's really
I want
good, and I want Karen animated.
It would be good to see animated, if only because the actual game itself is fucking hard as nails.
Oh yeah, because the entire game is mini games and trying to figure your way around a
a time loop.
Groundhog Day style loop.
Yeah,
So-
and I want that animated by you. Finish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Heaven's-
they might do that after Heaven's Feel, because I mean they've still got the next Heaven's Feel movie comes out this year,
Yes.
Oh, dude, they're about done.
and
They're
then
about finished three.
This is what I want. But going back to Oath of, is it called Oath of Snow or Oath on the Snow? Or something
yeah,
like that?
it's something like that.
But yeah, it's good. It is a good movie. It actually has plot and actual reasons driving it behind it, and it is a completely different animal. Like if I plump back directly in front of someone who didn't know about Prisma Illya and said, "Watch this, what do you think?" I think they would have gotten just as much out of it as I did.
Yeah, you don't need to know about Prisma Illya to watch that film, because it is not. It is a prequel to the show, but it's a prequel to the alternative reality side of the show. It's not even in the main reality of the show, so you don't need the show to watch that movie at all. The only thing that movie does for me in the context of the show is it makes me interested now in probably the inevitable 5th season that may eventually come for it, which I want to see where the plot is going, of the point of because Sakura's in the movie, she dies in the movie.
Oh, the spoils. Fuck,
We
I was
already said spoilers for the everything anyway.
I would call her Queen of Clubs, but
But yeah, no, and then she appears at the end of season 4 as Shiro's like, "You're dead. Like, why are you alive?" And I want to know, and she's probably going to turn back up in the 5th season, and I'm just like interested to see like why she's still there.
how?
Also, let's
one that knows
forget
about
Kane
Heaven's
in the
Feel out of
film. He's
interest,
the
right?
treasure.
Yeah, Lewis, you actually had stuff to say about this, from what I remember from when we were talking about when we first got onto this subject.
Yeah, I really fucking like this film, actually, quite a bit. It was one of my top ones, mainly because it's fun and dumb, and like it just says fuck you to all the tropes where it's like your main hero is supporting this one person and wants to say fuck you to the world. Well, that's usually the antagonist role, and they actually do quite a good job of it. And you've got these various people who are like, please save the world, God, like we're having to fight you for this, please stop winning. And that happens, and Kaneth's in it, who is a treasure, and you've got Lancelot in it as well for some fucking reason.
I like the fact that Shiro goes through and defeats literally every person in that Holy Grail War himself.
Yeah.
It's like it is like the generic idea that to have the antagonist defeat everyone in order, whereas like the Fate show kind of does it differently, where different people get defeated in different capacities, where there are some people that kind of get knocked out by different people, like Shiro and Saber don't have to win every single time, whereas this show goes no, Shiro is going to just take them all out.
Well, that montage of him like fighting all of them in order is literally just like that shows his like conviction to the point of, I need to save this girl, I need to do this thing, and I'm going to fight to do it. And
in my head canon, that's like one full on thing that he never stopped. He defeats someone and he just keeps.
Yeah, it's not just a montage shown. It's like for him that is literally how it goes. It's like one's down, next, until I've gotten to the end game.
Until you get to arguably the best character in Prisma Illya, which is our one homunculi who's given the Gilgamesh, and she's actually genuinely an interesting and intriguing character because she's
pretty cool.
Because she's someone who is kind of forced into what she's doing because she's been made by this family, but when she gets defeated in season 4 of Prisma Illya, she has nothing left.
Yeah,
and they kind of have a very similar idea of that in the movie, where she's fighting for the sake of fighting because she literally knows nothing else. She's been told nothing else. She has no other purpose. And you can tell during the fight that whenever Shiro's getting the upper hand, he starts to worry, because if she loses, what's her point?
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting about that character, and I want to see more of her. Like, can it just be her now? Can we just drop everyone else and just have her?
I'm assuming she's in season 5 because, well,
I have literally no idea.
Because, well, they kind of pick her up at the end of season 4 because she's like, I have nothing left. Okay, come with us. It's literally what it is at the end of season 4. But
join the club. Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? You kind of just want to, you want to see. It's a weird series. I want to see more of certain characters, and I want to see absolutely nothing of others.
Yeah, it's kind of like, can we just get rid of Kuro and just have all these other characters, please?
She does very little in the show itself, apart from the second season. You can get rid of her, as far as I'm concerned.
You can get rid of Kuro because now we have actual Shiro as that archer, so we don't actually need Kuro anymore.
Definitely. Dear. Right, I'm gonna just kind of perk myself up a bit because I've realised that I'm.
I think we can.
Oh, he just fucking died, like, on my end as well. I just realised, like, ugh!
Yeah, I think.
Right, hang a minute.
I will admit, the energy is slowly but surely leaving the podcast, I feel.
Yeah,
I feel it was a part that kind of hit 3 of 4 people quite heavy.
Hard.
Yes.
As to into a much more deeper point than we go into usually. Such as,
Let's talk about Prisma Illya later, Lewis.
Yeah,
Let's talk about it now.
The last time this sort of thing happened, Lewis, was when me and you had our heart-to-heart to people about a place further than the universe.
Yeah,
we managed
I
to
would like to point out, when I listened to that, every guy said, "Get up and do something, people, please."
Yeah.
That was me yelling at people.
We moved it on immediately and didn't let the down vibe.
Should we just move on now?
Let's move on and remember the 4-letter word that keeps us all together. hate.
Thought.
If we're moving on, I'd like to point out that last week, I cooked the fried rice from the latest episode of today's menu for the Emiya family, and it was great.
I have not seen that much of this actually.
Well,
jealous.
let's go on to the more happy shows of Fate, which is, well, first we'll go on to today's menu for the Emiya family, which we've already discussed once on a
love it.
podcast.
The meme shows.
It's
I love this show so much.
it's just a wholesome, nice cooking show with Fate characters, and it's great. And they did the one thing in the last episode that we haven't had for Fate, but they've finally given it to us, which is the swimsuit episode.
It was 2 episodes ago, but it was
Yeah.
Was it 2 episodes ago?
the Rialto Nua fucking water park episode, basically, and oh my god, it made me so happy. Because the Rialto Nua water park bit is just so much.
I could take or leave that section if I'm perfectly honest. But what I love about this show so much is the fact that it has Fate characters. They've got all of their powers, which that episode showed when they have the
volleyball tournament with Fate servants,
which just goes insane. But apart from that, that is only one of 2 points in the entire show, which I'm pretty sure is 7 episodes in at this point, where it shows any concept of magic or being demonstrated. That it has that episode, that bit, and then it has the bit where Lancer turns up, where Saber's just kind of sat in a room doing her own little thing, and she just kind of looks up, wanders to the door, and she's just like, yeah, I sensed magic. And that's it. And like, I love that about it, that it doesn't just shove Fate characters in your face and try and just do more Fate. It's really subtle about it, and I kind of adore that.
No, it's beautiful.
It's really well done.
Lance's there's so many hints to different things, like there's so many hints to hollow ataraxia and stuff like that.
Oh god,
which
yeah.
just like
it's
Lance's
in
floral shirts.
It's in the hollow ataraxia universe, isn't it? It's set at the same time.
It's set under the hollow ataraxia universe, and so you've got Lancer as his fisherman in his thing, and I think when I spoke earlier and was getting super excited, I said Rialto Nua by accident, but I did mean the water park scene in hollow ataraxia as well.
And we also get the fact...
How much man meat's on display during this swimsuit episode?
Oh, you get Archer and Lance fully top.
You get Archer in
Shiro,
song.
and Shiro's top. It's great.
That is more dong than I was hoping for. Thank you. Yeah, if anyone's seen my model collection, you know I like the male body. Oh.
It's also.
I believe Lancer is only open-shirted, wearing shorts and fishing.
You see, there's a certain sort of like look that carries that anyway. I'm just happy there's enough man meat on display.
It's also the show which gave me my new OTP, which I never realized I wanted. And I'm so sorry, Bizette, but Tiger Lancer is precious.
What the fuck was Bizette?
What's her name? You know, Lancer's actual master.
Oh.
The
short
master
red-haired
of Rider.
Yeah.
Right? No.
Yeah. No. Hang on a minute. I'm trying to make sure that actually. I swear it's Bizette.
I think you're right.
Lancer's actual master is the short red-haired woman from the Mage Association.
Yeah. But Bizette Frege Mukremitz. Yeah, I was right.
Well, holy shit!
I was right. Like. Oh god, she's in Fate. Oh god, she's in Prisma Illya. Oh god. That's literally.
Don't revert. Don't turn back. Don't turn back.
Back out. Talk about Carnival Phantasm. Talk about Carnival Phantasm.
Alt F4.
Anyway, I love Bizette Lancer because Bizette Lancer's a great little pairing. But goodness me, does that episode where Tiger and Lancer have like their interactions, they're drinking together and they're having fun. They've got their own little kind of like greeting handshake, and I kind of adore it. And I just kind of want them to be just huggy and happy together.
Lancer can never be happy. His luck is too low.
God,
I think all Lancers are just fated to be unlucky and killed by themselves.
The ultimate Lancer attack. Position the enemy behind you. Drive spear through your chest.
Man, Hugh, Save a Lion looks hungry.
Oh dear. Yeah, but he survives that or what?
Does he? I'm
no,
pretty certain that
yeah.
still ends with a "you killed Lancer."
No. There's two versions of that because the entire where Lancer gets all. This is Carnival Phantasm, by the way, for everyone who's. There's the episode where he gets visions of every time he dies and he avoids them.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah. And he avoids getting eaten by the lion by just like I think reading manga with her or something.
Yeah, he does something.
By Saber Lion, which I kind of Saber Lion, like oh my word.
Like, is that just? Are we moving on
That's the
to?
thing.
Oh yeah.
Are we going to the meme? Are we on the meme?
Should we just go to the meme because like,
Yeah,
unless-
go to the
unless-
meme where I now cannot contribute. So have fun.
Oh, I mean,
Oh god. Alright, I will say this now. The fucking back alley club, I think, is one of the funniest
Oh my
sketches I've ever seen for
God.
characters
I
that I
adore
don't
that.
even know. I
they're all from.
don't want to know.
Suke
Hugh, I don't want to know. Hugh,
Fair enough,
that's
fair
the
enough.
best bit. I just know that they're not wanted and they are just there clicking their fingers at the
Dude,
camera.
the clicking the fingers is the fucking best thing ever. And the fact
God.
it happens about 4 times per sketch with them as well is
Just that they're just very lonely and just no one thinks of them. Just like, well, our characters not enough screen
They are
time.
genuinely characters that either get killed off or are very marginalised that were meant to have larger parts in Tsukihime.
Yeah.
The
And it grows over Carnival Phantasm.
the after school Alia Lion.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Rokugo
Just
Hachimano.
they all meet up in this alleyway. Wait, hang on. I say that's my second favorite joke of Carnival Phantasm. Number one is one which you get to see every time in every opening of Assassin with the fucking tent and burning barrel
Dude,
in
that's
winter
fucking
waiting for the
fantastic. As it just cuts over the seasons to Assassin still sat out over the shrine.
like with a
It
proper
It goes
little
over
like
every
shanty
season,
tent.
and you see him sat there like normally in spring, then happy during summer or something. Then autumn he's like got an umbrella, and then he's got a full tent in winter, and then it goes back round to spring, and he just basically collapses forwards of just
Yeah.
He's got a straight up shanty town. Like it's Carnival Phantasm.
He's got a burning barrel. tarpaulin in his
Carnival
fucking
Phantasm is nothing but a show about one samurai's slow descent into homelessness.
Oh, it is.
Like,
It is. Carnival
for
Phantasm
me-
being described as the assassin story would be beautiful.
Oh, I love. I mean,
for-
there is
For me, oh no, go on, Hugh. Come on.
No. I was just gonna give people watching some kind of overview that Carnival Phantasm is not just Fate. Carnival Phantasm. Carnival
it's
Phantasm.
everything.
Carnival Phantasm is a manga series that was then adapted by I don't even know who adapted it. My word, that's a lot.
It was Dean, I think.
Was it Dean? Well done, Dean, if you did.
I don't think Dean did it.
Look
think
at
it was
Ben. Look it up for me, please. Anyway, it's a mix between Fate and Tsukehime, which I think was Type Moon's first ever visual novel.
It was Studio Lurch.
Oh,
Which I'm Lurch. What Lurche?
Yeah.
Lurch.
You mean the one that did
Same
Monster
one that did
Musume?
that.
Yes, the one that did Monster
Same one
Moose.
that did Danganronpa, Majida Watashi no Koishinasai, School Live.
What are they
Assassin's
current? What
Classroom.
are they the one that's currently doing Asobi Asobose?
Yes.
I love that show so much.
I
Anyway,
fucking adore that show, but that's for another time.
that is another time. That is for the end of summer
I
2018
believe
cast.
Ben and Hugh can basically officially say, watch Asobi Asobase.
Do please,
It's
because
glorious. And also,
it's the only show which tells you what show he is.
I've been
it's
told
in
it's the
the-
Konosuba slice of life.
Wait, hold the fucking phone. Is this a show that actually tells you a shogi works?
it tells you what shogi is, yeah.
How?
Yeah,
Fucking
it shows,
you,
it shows, it
And
absolutely.
also the only truth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Go for it. Like, go
I'm
ahead
sick
and
and
watch
tired of shows. I'm sick and tired of shows assuming that I know what their bullshit weeb chess is.
it. Oh no, yeah, no. Oh yeah. I mean, at the end of the day. But anyway, Carnival Phantasm, just is just this complete mix of hilarity of just Type Moon memeing itself hard. and I love it for that. That it just kind of sits down and goes, you know what, we've got these characters that are beautifully well put together, that are excellent characters in their own rights. Let's just see what happens when we make them funny. And there are so many characters in there, and I will say my favorite joke in that entire thing is during the race, right at the beginning, where it's Berserkar's great, but no, to me it's when Shiro and Saber pick their lot, and it's just lion calm, and she just comes on
And
this
she's so happy.
line. She's the happiest I've ever seen her. Just Shiro, it stops. She just looks down,
She's just sat
looks
there
in-
like,
yeah, she looks down directly at the car, looks up, sticks her hands out, and goes, 100 yen, please. And it's just Shiro's face of, it needs money. And they end up bankrupting themselves to make that thing run.
the
And
final scene of the race is literally Shiro force feeding it as fast as he can his 100 yen coins
And
into the fucking car
when
to
he-
overtake everything possible, including Guild's god bike.
And the fact that when they finally win, they look each other directly in the eyes. A moment of complete solidarity when they realise the one thing that they both want is their fucking money back. And I love it. Like, absolutely adore that. Berserker is also just great.
Don't forget fucking Shinji and Ryder with Ryder's A+
Plus,
riding,
my riding
where she
skill is
fucking goes,
A.
"Don't worry, we've got the granny bike. It doesn't matter. I've got A+ riding."
And
She
Shinji, well, you're
rides
missing
too fast and drives off a cliff.
and the fact that Shinji is in the basket.
Yep.
He's just in.
And then as they fly off the cliff, Shinji's like, "Shinji, phone home."
Shinji, you get also the episode becomes the soap opera with Shinji and Sakura, and it's
Oh,
just
that's so good.
where
Oh, that's so good.
it's the most like beaten up Shinji ever gets is every time anything's about to happen, Ryder just kind of turns up and just does some kind of comedy routine, like slapstick Laurel and Hardy thing to get Shinji away from him, like knock him with a bottle of wood, or like just I'm pretty sure at one point she noble phantasms him.
Then there's of course the classic of Grail Curtain, but I think at this point we are literally just repeating jokes from this show.
Yeah,
Just go watch the show. I don't think we've actually got anything to even say about this other than it's a very funny show. If you like to say.
It's hilarious, and despite having things from Tsukihime, Karano Shirka, and
Very
also,
little from Karano Shirka.
it's very little, but also it has a fair bit to do with the Fate Hollow Ataraxia. It has a bunch of stuff from that referenced in it.
Well, Karen turns up.
You really need to know it. As long as you know the Fate characters, you can get through. And even if you don't know the Tsukihime characters, the interaction between the two is funny enough to carry you.
It works so well because it takes their basic character ideas and it plays off them in a humorous way. So it takes the idea that Shiro has, the three routes where he gets the three heroines, and it takes the idea of him being this bold guy, this champion of justice who can't say no to a girl, who can't drop or anything, ending up accidentally dating three girls on one day.
He's accidentally dating all of them, and then the hero from Tsukihime is purposefully dating all of his. And so he takes Shiro under his wing and proceeds to give him a flowchart course
on
how to date each of them fluidly, so none will ever learn.
It is the perfect parody of the harem genre. And there are so many shows that try and parody the harem genre and end up becoming a harem genre themselves, and this perfectly parodies the harem genre in literally 10 minutes. You take 10 minutes and it just perfectly does it. And if you watch any scene from that, just watch that scene to see how to proper parody. That is proof of how to parody right there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
I think that people should just go and watch it. And if I'm being honest, I think that means we're at the end of the list of this 4-hour podcast.
Is it 4 hours?
No, it isn't 3 hours.
Not
It's
the best girl yet.
It's 3
3
hours and
minutes in.
20 minutes, but we had faff time at the start and technical difficulties, so it's probably about 3.